Good night, everyone. This is Hugo Senshida. It's 17th of September, at least from what I'm quoting. 10:44. It's night. And I'm covering Hendway's iceberg. Yes, Hendway now has an iceberg made by Daily Nixon quotes. The true man which made it possible to make this. Also known as Bull, which is actually a good, prominent member of the Hendway server. And somewhat of a friend of mine, thanks Bull. So, here we go. We start with the surface. As you can see, that's Hendway in the army. Labond. Labond is a current member of the Hendway server. He was a mod, an admin, possibly the head of it. He's a current Patreon and now has a special role for himself, the Sneed poster. I don't get it why, but he just is vibing now. Now he's more liked, but some people just find him unfunny. Hendway. Hendway, also known as Hendway of YouTube, is the owner of the Hendway server and the main mod. He doesn't appear that much, but he still appears, and the server occasionally likes him. He now posts videos of time lapses, well edited might I add, of certain nations that are interesting, but now, due to his lack of time to studying, he is now only streaming on Twitch, Dead by Daylight. The Cylinder Hats. The Cylinder Hats is the name for the mod crew, including myself, that moderates the server. Hoi4. Hoi4, also known as abbreviation for Hearts of Iron 4, is the game that Hendway always plays on the channel. Due to some exceptions like April Fool's Phase Henwat video, he normally does time-lapse of it. It's a popular game around the server, although with some complaints due to the lack of optimization or content by the vanilla. Casual Leaving. Casual, also known as Casual, that is the leader of a server, which due to his privacy, I shall not mention, but I'm in it, was a former mod and I think is still close to Hendway to this moment. He left the server 1 year ago, at least. The reasons he had are not explained for now, but I think it was because he didn't like the direction it was taking or its members. Pat, also known as Patrick, known as Patrick, is a uni student. He was a previous mod and one of the most beloved mods, and still is one of the most beloved members, even though he left, having a personal comment for him to celebrate him. He left, not by personal reasons, not by bad reasons, just to focus on his life. He did come back recently, but he left again. He said he'll be back by Christmas, and we shall wait him. DVD, Dead by Daylight, is a game that Hendway likes. He used to play it on private streams on Discord and other servers, but now he plays it on Twitch. He's a prominent clown main. Literally, the character is named Clown. He does like the game, although it's considered dead. The Deep Waters. Representing it is Trolltown. Clumsy Tomboy. Clumsy, also known as Mr. Clumsy, also known as Mr. Torpe, also known as Alfredo, he manifested his love of tomboys a lot of times. Maybe this theorizes that Clumsy is actually a tomboy, which I highly doubt. He looks like a man. Morse fanboy. Morse, Mr. Morse, also known as Jamison, is a special friend of mine. We are quite flirty and he gave him some games, which is cool. He kind of shows a lot of affection for femboys, and sometimes acts a bit feminine. So this can theorize that Morse is actually a femboy, which I disagree, but he's definitely a bottom. Red Flood. Red Flood is a mod, it emerged like a rocket. Hendway picked it up, and due to its speed and content, on the wacky side especially, he grew fond of the mod, only doing said mod for a lot of sequence videos. Possibly his favorite one. And a bit of source of the memes, like the Troll Toad meme, which is a symbol of the server today. Clumsy secretly loves fanboys. When accused by such, Clumsy is very defensive. And normally when a person is very defensive, he's actually into it. And possibly, since he comes from Mexico, which is a very homophobic country, he actually is pretending to be more manly, since apparently tomboys is the ultimate straight man choice, quotation marks, which they aren't, they're gay. He actually picks it to look manly. Hey, Boran. Boran, I don't know if he's Argentinian or Turkish. I know he's a friend of Clumsy. More of the wild one, if you know what I mean, and too ironic. Twist in my opinion. Hendway Army Service. Hendway was an army, as you can see in the surface picture. He served mostly of a support role, if I heard it right. But we don't know exactly what he did. At least to my knowledge. Cernut. Cernut, a previous mod of Hendway, which now is a somewhat active member, is a funny dude from Republica Dominicana, which just posts black people showing their butts. It's somewhat of a meme, which is kind of hard, but it's just black men showing their butts, getting a haircut, or just twerking said butts. You should ask by the content. Real good. Clumsy is a member of a cartel. That's because he's Mexican. Move on. Robert. Robert is a apparently German member, which he recently arrived. At least I caught him in my radar recently. And now he's actually pretty well loved. Maybe he's here because his rise of affection and such, being a loved member of the server, was a bit quick. Normally people build up that, but he was real quick. He's nice, so I think so. Boran is Jewish. I don't know about this, but he's probably Argentinian. And Argentinians had the Nazi refuge thing, so... Jewish? I don't know. T-Brick's a bitch. T-Brick, not so liked member of the server, which is not banned because, well, he didn't break any rules. Because being a goddamn doll is not breaking a rule. Anyways, he is here because the server doesn't like him. He's spammy, he's not funny, he always does memes about himself which are not funny. At least not to an ironic enjoyment. He was even in my Hendway server went to, being meted by Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar represented the server. Caio isn't Brazilian. A theory on this is that Caio, being a staunch monarchist and actually hating Brazil, possibly isn't Brazilian. Returning to monarchy isn't a popular opinion on Brazil, and he's really anti-Brazil at the moment. So maybe he is a Portuguese or a Brazilian in Uruguay, or Cisplatina, which they call him that, or just a Portuguese man. Maybe something else, because he definitely knows the language. MG collab. MG standing for Mountain General, which is another content creator, is actually kind of close to Hendway. They speak sometimes in the server publicly. We don't know it privately. And although their content, still being in the same game, are way different, maybe they're planning a collab due to their buddy-buddy relationship. Hendway posting fanboys in outside servers. Hendway's server, compared to other Paradox servers and Paradox YouTuber servers, is actually really progressive and open to homosexuals and such. Granted, Here's a fact. Out of 5, 6 moderators of the Hendway server, one is straight. The rest are, well, 2 are trans, 2 are bisexual, and another is pansexual. And not counting Hendway. So, maybe Hendway is into that too, and he's posting femboys in outside servers, explaining his position on it. DBD content. As I explained, Dead by Daylight actually is a content that he likes to do. He mostly does it on Twitch, but we don't know if he's gonna make it on YouTube as a YouTube content or just a compilation. Hugo is dead and is an AI. So the theory I can come up with is that Hugo shown himself to be unstable, suicidal, maybe so, and also quite savvy with tech. So maybe, to not worry his friends and such, he made an AI replicating him. That's why sometimes he could answer randomly, so that when he inevitably shot himself, his AI could work. Hugo did go away for some weeks, but then he came back. Maybe he was just setting the AI, killed himself, and just moved on. So this is a photo by Ala Gaming HD trademark. Nah, I bet you too gay threesome of Edward V and Wilhelm and Nicholas. So this is Flex. We'll talk about him later. The dark cesspit of comedy. Otherwise, the bad zone. As you can see, spooky Hendway. Bilzeriya came because of T-Brick. They are supposedly friends. Bilzeriya was a Danish member, and he was very toxic. From what I could see, he was T-Brick if he was more annoying and more toxic and maybe a bit racist or homophobic. I don't know. I don't remember. He, from what I know, is gone. T-Brick is hated because he knows the truth. T-Brick, as I mentioned, he's hated. But maybe he just knows the truth. And like Jesus Christ, that knew the truth, he's being repulsed, hated, silenced. Hendway starred in a porno. I mean, both saying it and he kind of knows Hendway. I don't know about this, but can I get a tape? Hendway is dead. Pat is now Hendway. This actually can make some sense. Hendway took a service in the military and took a big hiatus. And Pat was slowly becoming less active. My theory is, Hendway died in the army. And when he came back, he actually changed his style of videos. Because when you compare his pre-army and post-army style, it got better. More artistic, more edited, and emphasized on the crazy instead of the crude time lapses he did. So it's a theory because Hendway is now in the school break, and Pat is actually on uni now so he's taking classes, which actually interlopes. So maybe Pat left first to take care of the Hendway account. And when he had school, he said Hendway needed to have school. Confirming he's dead. Mycon. Mycon is, well, a friend of mine. With some doubts, but he's a friend of mine. He bought me i4 even, which was nice of him. He is the head of mothers of the cylinder heads. But although his views are seen as a bit inconsistent, if not inconsistent, weird, and he's not seen very active. To one point, he said he was the best modder because he didn't do anything. That time, he does know something, but still. Slex, the guy that had the Ala Gaming HD profile, was, how do I say this? A mix of T-Brick with a mix of Hugo, but way more toxic. And Bilzeriya, I guess. He was unstable. emotionally by being gay, and he had a boyfriend and such. They broke up, etc. And he wasn't stable. He wanted to kill himself, and he had a very dark humor, but not the funny type, just the scandalous type. He was annoying, and he used to, well, just throw himself against others. He was very revengist and such. He wasn't pleasant. Many people felt bad, but with time, he became more despised. And now he doesn't post on it. In server, fortunately. So, thank you for this, Bo, but I'm gonna add another entry. I don't know if I should talk to this. If you're also in the Mountain General server, you might know this man. His name is Polenko. He's a Czech living in Zaurzy. He was actually well treated in the beginning, and we were fairly well acquainted. But then a more darker side of him approached. He betted with his cousin to actually wank his dog. Yeah, that man actually bet to his cousin for him to do a happy job with his hand on his dog. He was mean by that, but it was nothing illegal, so he stayed. Then he began some anti-Hendway views and said that the Mountain General server, which I'm sorry, Mountain General, if you're seeing this, no offense, but your server is a bit toxic. It's a bit toxic in my opinion. So he was a bit left off, because that's a common opinion. At least it was. So he came back, he left, then he came back for some time. And here's some story, which is a bit fuzzy. In the Rough channel, which was a somewhat NSFW channel of the Hendway server, which was shut down because of Polenko. Zawalk, a member, apparently schizophrenic, but not added, Filipino, asked how could he date a girl and such. Polenko taught him how to kidnap, rape a girl. Yes. That was not mentioned. Polenko just did that. I'm pretty sure he got banned. And after that, even though he said the Mountain General server was way better, I talked to Mountain General some days ago, and he said that he was possibly banned too. So that's the story of Polenko, the darkest chapter of Hendway Iceberg. So guys, I hope you liked it. This was actually quite interesting and fairly in-depth for the Hendway server due to Bol actually being a Vanguard member. He knows about some things. So, I hope you enjoyed it. It was something different. It was something lazy for me to do because the school started. And now, we just enjoy. Thank you so much for accompanying me, and farewell.